Holland America, Celebrity Cruises. Which one will you choose for your family? Stay tuned, as today we're interviewing an expert travel advisor who sailed on both. My guest today is Mary Ellsworth of Cruise and Travel Experts. Mary makes her home in Seattle, Washington, and has been meeting the needs of her clients in and around Seattle and across the country for the last 28 plus years. Hi, Mary. Welcome back to RTE-Travel Talk.
Hi, Ken. Thank you for having me again. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you back with us, Mary. So listen, consumers have so much choice in this day and age when it comes to cruise lines that sometimes it's difficult to navigate all the nuances and the attributes of each one, the different ships. And as a result, we get a lot of requests for comparisons. Now, Celebrity Cruises and Holland America are two premium cruise lines that garner a lot of attention. And I know we've touched on this subject before, but I would love to have your thoughts on those two lines. Are you up for that?
I am up for it. Thank you.
Perfect. So I understand you've cruised on both.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't we begin with kind of giving us a 30,000 foot level look at each cruise line, Mary?
Okay. So, they're very similar. They're very premium. Both have great service, great food, very similar amenities, activities. They just have some certain differences in certain areas that make it unique.
Okay. Let's flesh that out a little bit. What would be a standout for Celebrity and a standout for Holland, in your opinion?
Holland America, they tend to do more of the classic cruise idea.
Right. And I've heard that about Holland America, that it kind of harkens back to, obviously Holland has a lot of history, but it harkens back to the history, that it's more of a classic experience.
Correct. Yeah. Yes, definitely. Where Celebrity is going to be kind of a more updated, new age type experience.
Yeah, great way to put it. Yeah. Now, I assume that neither one of them is really all inclusive, but
correct.
And I assume you can probably purchase drink packages, etc., on both. But if we were to compare the two, how do they stack up, and what's available on each, Mary?
It's great to have an agent nowadays because there are so many different price points, packages, things that you can get. Celebrity has packages that offer you a drink package as well as Wi-Fi, and that's one price point. Or you can get it without it at another price point. Holland America, same thing. They have it all, which is a drink package. It's a shore excursion discount, specialty dining, Wi-Fi. Again, but if you don't want those things, you can get another price point that doesn't include those.
Right.
You also have to be careful because there's non-refundable deposit fares out there and regular deposits. So some of the cruise lines will give you a little bit of a better fare if you're willing to take a non-refundable deposit.
Explain non-refundable deposits a little bit for the benefit of our viewers and listeners.
So most of the non-refundable deposits, Holland America doesn't have as many of those. Right. Celebrity is a little more flexible with their non-refundable deposit. On average, depending on the length of the cruise, you're looking at a minimum of a $250 per person deposit. If for some reason you can't go on that sailing, they'll let you change it to another ship and sail date for a $100 fee. So you don't actually lose the full deposit, as long as it's done before the big penalties begin. So it's a little flexible, but it still gives you a little penalty.
Right. So is there value in doing that sort of thing, Mary?
It can save you a few $100 per person on each sailing. So if you're pretty certain, this is what you're doing, this is what you want to do, it's definitely worthwhile to take it.
Right. But then again, probably a way then to protect that would be with travel coverage. Travel insurance would be.
With travel insurance is always a good idea. Yeah. We suggest that on anything just because of the fact that you just never know.
Now, I understand between the two, Holland America and Celebrity, as you said, they have these kind of like packages that basically makes it all inclusive.
Right.
But you can also, like you said, you can also have what's known as kind of a strip down fare and a la carte. Is that better in your opinion, or is there advantages to going with the strip down fare and then just building a piece by piece?
It really depends, of course, upon what you like to drink, what you like to do. A lot of times, even some of my passengers who don't drink alcohol still find it a better value to get the drink package because it does include specialty coffees, non-alcoholic drinks, milkshakes, just things like that. Right. And the price point isn't that much different. If someone chooses to not get a package price, they can purchase individual either Wi-Fi packages or individual drink packages separately. But again, a lot of times the pre-packaged amount tends to be a better deal in the long run.
Really? Okay. So let's talk about on board. How are the ships similar and how are they different?
Again, I think Holland America has always been a little more classic. They have more the woods, the darker hues. The celebrity ships now, the newer ones are getting brighter, flashier, lots more light. The size again is a huge difference. And then Celebrity is coming out with more newer innovations. For example, some people like them, some people don't.
Yeah.
They have what are called infinity balcony rooms. So rather than your typical balcony that most cruise lines have, where you step out, have a deck to sit on, you actually have a window that opens down, and basically then the room becomes a whole balcony. Some people like it, some don't. I actually had my first experience with one of those recently, and I actually thought it was kind of neat.
Yeah.
I enjoyed being able to like even keep the window open just a little bit in the evenings to get that fresh air, but not have the whole balcony open.
When you think about it, on an inclement day,
Yep.
it gives you an extra probably 40 square feet in your room.
It does.
Yeah.
It does, which is nice.
So the people that don't like them, what's the knock on it?
I think it's just that whole sit out on the deck and enjoy a cup of coffee or enjoy a
Mm.
meal or something is the main thing that they don't like about
Kind
it.
of feels like you're still in your room.
Yeah, exactly. Not sitting outside.
Yeah. Now, on these newer ships with
Mhm.
Celebrity, we're talking the Edge class.
Right. Yes.
Is that your only choice when it comes to a balcony?
No, they do actually, and I did experience this also. They have what's called a porthole view balcony. So you still get the full balcony where you can step out and sit, but the window is a little smaller. It's not the full picture window that you normally have with a sliding glass door balcony. And we loved it. It was a great way to see outside, enjoy the fresh air. It's just a different experience.
Right. But for the most part, the vast majority of the rooms on these Edge class ship are the infinite balconies.
Infinite,
Right.
correct.
And
Yeah.
is it the same when you step up to suites?
So the suites are a whole different category.
Yep.
Celebrity, again, being a little bit more innovative nowadays with their suites. They have everything from two-story suites, which are gorgeous. They have large suites, but most of those tend to have a regular step-out balcony.
Okay.
And a lot of them have the picture windows too, so you kind of get the best of both worlds.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
But
it's
but
wonderful.
again, that's going to be a big difference from Holland America, which is really your just
Correct.
classic balconies,
Classic suites. Yep.
classic suites.
Don't get me wrong, a Neptune suite or a Pinnacle suite on Hal, they're wonderful. Size is great. The balconies are terrific. Services and amenities are wonderful. It's just a whole different category.
Yeah. So you sailed on some of the newer ships with Hal and Celebrity?
With both, yes.
Okay.
I actually got to be on the inaugural of the Ascent. And then Hal, the most recent I was on is a Eurodam, so I haven't been on the newest ships yet.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I love the newer Hal ships too.
So tell me about some of the Ascent. What are some of those fancy new innovations that people speak so highly of?
So the one, they have the magic carpet, which is basically almost like an elevator, but it actually is a bar, and they turn it into a restaurant certain nights, and depending on where it's at on a certain point of part of the day, it moves floor to floor to floor to floor. So it's a huge experience. They have like living gardens, like walls that are just living gardens all over the place, which are really neat. And oh, the rooftop garden too, I thought was really innovative, where you can watch movies under the stars, or we got to see Mamma Mia while we were in the Greek Isles.
Oh, that'd be nice.
It was a lot of
Yeah.
fun, and just a bar atmosphere, food, and you're just outside, which is great.
What's this I hear about? People seem to rave about the bar area in the center of the ship.
It's gorgeous. On Celebrity, they have this gorgeous bar, the midship bar, which they will do shows at night.
Oh, really?
Where yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's pretty impressive. The bartenders, they're doing throwing drinks in the air, glasses are flying, and they're interactive, and it's a really lot of fun. And then on one of the recent ones that I was on, they actually had dancers that hung out in different areas of the bar as well. So while this was going on, you'd also see some people dancing on the sides, like doing break dancing or ballet moves and things like that. And it was very interactive and really neat.
But that's over and above their main showroom as well, right?
Correct. Yes,
Yeah.
that is just an extra added event that they have every couple of
Yeah.
nights that are separate from any of the activities or theaters that they have.
And I gather their main showroom is pretty amazing too on these Edge class ships.
On both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, on both of them. They are
Yeah.
great. They both do pretty elaborate shows, dance productions, musicals. They'll have guest comedians, ventriloquists, magicians, all sorts of variety, though I do think that Celebrity tended to be towards a younger age.
Right.
Again, a little more hip hop kind of dancing, more, where Holland America is more the Broadway style.
Actually, that brings up a good point. Are the demographics roughly the same on both lines, or do you think that perhaps Holland tends a little bit older?
Yeah, Hal has always been, sorry, Hal is what we call
Yeah.
him, but they've always been typically a little over age, higher age
Mm-hmm.
group. That being said, I've done a family group with my family with kids. I think both cater to both, but Hal definitely tends to be a little more older age group.
And I suppose that would probably tend to vary by your itinerary as well and the length of
Yeah,
sailing.
location to location. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Alaska, Caribbean. Most of the 7 to 10 day cruises are
Yeah.
more kid friendly.
Yeah.
Where you start getting onto longer cruises, and you'll probably have like a little older demographic for the most part.
Yeah.
Though I've seen kids on grand cruises and world cruises, so it just varies. But mostly the shorter cruises are for the families.
Now, you mentioned Alaska. Basically, Alaska at this time of year is a really hot destination, for want of a
Definitely.
better word,
Yeah.
a hot destination. Like Holland America has been in Alaska forever. Who does the better job? Or is that
They're
fair?
both great. Yeah, they're both great. I do think Holland America has had such a foothold in Alaska that their product is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Celebrity still has some great packages. They still if you do more of the land tours, I think Holland America has an edge.
Yeah.
But Celebrity has some great options as well.
Specifically because Holland America's got the infrastructure there.
They just have been there
Yeah.
forever.
Now,
Yeah.
in terms of itineraries, are they pretty much the same?
Mhm.
Like, do they go to all the same places, Mary?
For the most part, yes, but Holland America definitely has more of the longer cruises,
Right.
more of the grand voyages, more of the, they both go to the same places, but Holland America definitely tends to do the longer sailings, the more extensive, immersive type of sailing.
Yeah.
Though, I will say, Celebrities, they have the Iceland, which I'm dying to do. They're now doing, starting in 2025, they're doing 7-night round trip Reykjavik. I think that's incredible because it's been such a popular place to go lately.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned 7 nights. I don't recall seeing too many voyages with Celebrity that would have been more than 14 days. But if you look on Holland America, you can go 14, 23, 42, 60.
50.
Like they
Yeah.
have just a,
Even 100. Yeah.
yeah. And then even world
100 or
cruises.
so. Yeah, I mean, that's true. Now, Celebrity, they do, like I have clients that will do 2 or 3 back-to-backs, and the itineraries will be different enough that they can make, a 28-day cruise and still enjoy it, but it's not one large cruise, it's a back-to-back. The entertainment, the food, everything might stay the same for
Mhm.
each back-to-back, as opposed to where some of the Holland America longer cruises, they'll change things up a little bit more because people are sailing for longer periods of time.
Exactly. Now, one trend that we're seeing a tremendous amount, Mary, is multi-generational and family cruising. Like, let's take a few minutes and compare how Celebrity and Holland America deal with family cruising.
I think they both do really well.
Yeah.
Both of them have kids programs that start at the age of 3. I do think Celebrity probably has more that they offer for teens as opposed to the younger generation. My daughter has been on both, and she really, really enjoyed the Celebrity programs because she was 13 at the time.
Yeah.
And the activities for her were a little more exciting than, say a kids program elsewhere. And I think Celebrity just does a really good job with that mid-age group too.
And it would probably make sense with the vibes of the ship, right?
Yeah.
With Holland America being more of a classic experience and Celebrity a little bit more, for want of a better word, a little bit more edgy. That's probably going to appeal to the kids
generation
more than the classic.
Yeah, definitely.
Cruise.
But again, I still love Holland America. They're both great.
Now, let's talk about my favorite part of any cruise, and that has to be the food. Now, Celebrity's known for their gourmet food. What are the restaurants like on board and the food options available with Celebrity as compared to Holland America?
So Holland America still has the classic dining room.
Mm-hmm.
It's a one main big dining room. You get early dining, late dining, or open dining.
Right.
Celebrity's new ships, they started on a 4-restaurant main dining experience.
Okay.
There's a Cyprus. Cyprus is Greek. Normandy. Normandy is more French. Cosmopolitan's more kind of American. You rotate between the four restaurants. I suggest eating at least at one of them each time.
Right.
And the ones that I thought that I would like the most, we ended up switching and eating it another one more than once because we liked it better. But they were very accommodating too. We found that like my daughter loves French onion soup. So if we were in a restaurant that didn't have the French onion soup, we could still order it and they'd get it for her. They had no problems
Yeah.
interchanging what you got from each restaurant.
Yeah.
So that was great. And then, of course, both have their wonderful specialty restaurants, which are terrific. Oh, actually, I got to mention on the Celebrity, I got to experience Les Petites Chefs, which was incredible.
And you have
You
to
get
see that to
to
understand what it is.
you really do. It's so interesting because you get a book,
Yeah.
and this little character comes to life at your
Yeah.
table and talks to you and starts doing things. It's pretty incredible. Yeah, it's really neat.
Let me take you back to the Celebrity 4 restaurant system. So basically,
Yeah,
you can rotate between the 4 restaurants for your main dining, and that's
correct.
over and above your any specialty restaurants that are on board. Correct?
That's included, so it's nothing you have to pay
Yep.
for. They assign you tables or which restaurant you're eating at which
Right.
place, but you can actually switch them
Right.
and change them. They're really really
Yeah.
flexible about that.
Okay. What about your wait staff? Now, I'm assuming with Holland America,
Hmm.
with the classic dining experience, you're going to have
Hmm.
one wait staff that waits on you
Yeah,
the entire cruise. Is it the same with
correct.
how does that work with Celebrity when you're rotating between restaurants?
So for the most part, you are going to get different wait staff at each
Right.
restaurant. They sometimes will interchange, but very rarely.
Yeah.
It's mostly specific to that specific restaurant. So if you eat in the same one, you may get the same people twice, but you may not. It just depends.
Right on. So for those folks that really enjoyed their interaction with the wait staff, Holland America
Holland
is
America,
probably going to be a better choice.
definitely. But again, if you do their open dining
Yeah.
at Holland America, you're going to get different wait staff
Exactly.
unless you request the same people each
Yeah.
time. It's definitely more traditional with Holland.
Exactly, exactly. I gather Holland America has a new program. They call it a global fish program. What can you tell us
Yeah.
about that?
So I haven't experienced it
Hmm.
myself, but I know that Chef Morimoto, who's famous, he spearheaded and collaborated with a lot of it. I know that they do very sustainable options, and they try to have, I think, as much as 80 different options depending on what part of the world you're at, locally sourced, and again, sustainable, which is incredible.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Holland America comes into our port once, if not twice a week. I wonder if they're using island mussels and island lobster. I'm going,
They should
I'm
be.
going to have, well, we're going to have to check into that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I know, I'm in Seattle.
Yeah.
So, of course, with the Alaska products, and I know that they do definitely use
They'd be using Alaska
Alaska.
salmon. And
Yeah, exactly.
so the big thing when it comes to either one of these cruise lines is the quality of service. How
Hmm.
do they stack up together, Mary?
Service was great on both cruise lines. But I will say that I think Holland America has always been known for their staff. I don't know if it's longevity of the staff that's been on board or the training, but people love Holland America's staff. And these people are amazing. They will remember people from years ago by name. I don't know how they do it. One of the reasons why people love the Grand Voyages so much and things like that is because the staff is so amazing. I'm not saying that Celebrity staff was bad.
Yeah.
I've had a great experience on them, but it just seems like Holland America, they just seem to know everyone. It's incredible.
No, for sure.
In cruise lines, it's so subjective. Everybody's got their own personal opinions. I tend to notice that a lot of people, the first cruise line they go on tends to be their favorite just because it was their first experience. And I think when people start branching out, they realize, wait a minute, it's not that different from each to each. But it's kind of interesting to see that a lot of people tend to stick with the first one they go on just because of the fact that they loved it.
I think you're absolutely bang on with that because
Yeah.
if you haven't experienced a cruise before, most people, when they go on board a cruise ship, their minds are blown.
It's true.
And as a result of that, they've had such a great time. They don't even want to take a chance on another cruise line because they want to make sure that they have the same experience that they had before, which they remember so fondly.
Exactly. And then there's also the loyalty
Yeah.
programs. The cruise lines make it worthwhile
Yeah.
to come back and back and back. The more you sail with them, the more amenities, perks you may get.
Yeah.
So I think that helps too.
And both the Mariner Society on Holland America and
Captains,
Captain's
yeah,
Club on Celebrity are
Celebrity,
strong programs.
they're very
Yeah.
strong. definitely.
Now,
So
speaking of the loyalty programs, have you heard that with Celebrity now, you can carry your points and perks to Royal Caribbean and Silver Sea?
So Royal Caribbean and Celebrity have had this agreement for a long
Mm-hmm.
time. Silver Sea did just include it too, but I'm also noticing now that a lot of cruise lines are starting to do loyalty match, where they will give you a certain tier or level from another cruise line if you can prove certain things, your
All right.
how long you've sailed with them and things like that. So a lot of cruise lines are starting to do that now.
Well, yes, just so for the benefit of our viewers and
Yeah.
listeners, Celebrity, Royal Caribbean, and Silver Sea are all owned
Hmm.
by Royal Caribbean Group. If I
Yes.
understood what you just told me, that Princess, I'm just picking one out of the air, Princess, for
Yeah.
example, based on certain criteria, will match what you've earned in credits from Celebrity Cruises. Is that what you're telling me?
Correct.
Wow.
Yeah. A lot of cruise lines are starting to do that now. It's worth looking into.
That's absolutely
Yeah.
fascinating. I learned
Yeah.
something new
It's
today.
just been happening past couple of years. It's just been
Yeah.
starting.
The one thing that we haven't touched on, and it's kind of the $64,000 question. Where do
Mhm.
you think they are in price point and value when you compare the two of them?
I think they're very similar.
Hmm.
It varies depending on date.
Right.
The more one ship fills up, the higher pricing it gets. But I do think that they're very similar in price points.
And I'd agree. I'd agree with that. Like
Yeah.
at certain times of the year, you can find some fantastic value on Holland
Deals.
America
Yes.
and
Yeah.
fantastic value on Celebrity on both.
It's true.
Yeah, but again, it also goes to the value of having an expert travel advisor in your corner to help you sort through that.
Yeah. The thing I find that people find confusing is refundable deposit, non-refundable deposit.
Yeah.
What's included, what's not included, because every cruise line now has different options like that, so it can make it a little overwhelming.
Well,
Yeah.
Mary, this is absolutely great information. Is there anything else you'd
Thank
like to
you.
add about either one of these great cruise lines before we wrap up?
Personally, I don't think you can go wrong on any cruise line, whether it's these two or any other. It's just a fun, great experience. I think they're both great, and it's fun to do.
Just get on board.
Just get on board.
So, Mary, if folks wanted to find out more information about a Holland America or Celebrity Cruise, what's the best way to contact you?
Either by email or by phone.
Mm-hmm.
Our number is 800-632-3659. My email is a little long. It's my first initial M, last name Ellsworth at cruiseandtravelexperts, all spelled out.com. Or they can just go to our website, Cruise and Travel Experts. All of our agents are amazing. We have an incredible group of people that we work with. You can't go wrong with any of them.
Perfect. Well, I'll leave that contact information in the description for those folks that may like to reach out. But as always, one of my favorite things about getting to interview all these wonderful travel advisors across the country is I get to live vicariously through the travels of my guests. So I
Yeah.
have to know where you're off to next.
I'm hoping it's my daughter's 16th birthday coming up. So we're looking at possibly doing a cruise for her and I sometime before the end of the year, but it's still up in the air. So,
Well, you know what? A Sweet 16 party somewhere's on board a cruise ship. I don't know that I could think of anything much better.
I agree. So, and she's dying for one again.
All right. Well, that sounds fantastic. We will have to
Okay.
have you back again to regale us with tales of your next adventure and perhaps that Sweet 16 party on board whichever cruise
Sounds
it's
good.
going to be. How's that sound?
Wonderful.
All right.
Sounds perfect. Thank you.
Well, with that, Mary, I'm just going to wish you safe and happy travels on all your future cruises and destinations. May the wind always be at your back, and I hope to see you sometime soon on the Lido deck.
Wonderful. Sounds great. Thank you.
Take care. And that about wraps it up for today, folks. A very special thanks to my guest, Mary Ellsworth of Cruise and Travel Experts. If you'd like to reach Mary, I will leave her contact information in the description. If you'd like to reach out to us with a suggestion for a future video or a question, you can send a question to questions@realtravelexperts.com. Visit our website, realtravelexperts.com, or simply leave a comment. We always respond. And as always, folks, if you enjoyed this content, a like, subscribe, share, and a ring of the bell is certainly appreciated and helps us to spread the word. So until next time, happy travels!